got very strong synergy inside the team, and we are very strong in team fights. I'm just feeling very confident.
一段时间去磨合了，但是现在我们队的打法的话，可能就是偏进攻性还是比较强一些，就是。
We decided to stay with this team because everyone believes in this team.
也挺厉害的吧？我们以前跟他们训练过，感觉都有实力。
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We've got our second set of semifinals set to kick off here in Invictus Gaming versus Vega Squadron. The winner of this will be facing off against Secret in the best-of-3 grand finals. We've got some new faces here on our panel. You'll recognize Melk, but here we've got Blitz and Cap. Gentlemen, welcome to the Alpha Draft Analysis Desk.
Hello. It's very good to be here. I feel a little short compared to everybody.
I mean, isn't that normal for you? That's like 90% of your life.
I'm average height, but compared to the average Dota personality, you guys are just all freakishly tall.
Average height where?
I'm 5'10". That's not that short.
All right.
Yeah, okay.
Keep telling yourself that, Blitz. If it helps you sleep at night, that's okay. So IG versus Vega. Cap, what are you thinking coming into this matchup?
I have to say that I felt like VP would actually have beaten IG because I feel like IG is a very aggressive playstyle and that actually plays into sort of VP's wheelhouse. I feel the same about Vega Squadron, but I was really proved wrong about VP. So I don't know.
All right, Melk, what do you know about this series?
I think Vega Squadron must be considered the favorites going into this. They just beat out EG, obviously, and then I think, as we talked about earlier, they're more disciplined than Virtus Pro is, and that's going to give them that final edge over IG, because it was very close games yesterday. So when IG meets a team that is more coordinated, they're probably going to fall.
Yeah, let's talk about Vega in particular. I was maybe the biggest skeptic of, can they control this aggression? And do you think, I mean, what were you thinking, Blitz, watching that series? Was that isolated against EG, or do you think that is just the sign of a team that really has come into their full form?
I mean, I've been casting Vega, like, right after TI, they just started grinding games left and right because they instantly announced, they're like, we're sticking together, we're going to stay as a group, and they just play this really tight style, which is hard for teams to beat. You know, their supports always know what to do. Their support is always moving around, stacking the camps for them. They know when to bring sentries and wards. They know how to play against the bounty hunter really well. It just feels like they have this, like, multi-style aggression where in the early game they're incredibly passive, but they always know what they want to pick, and so it kind of centers around well.
Yeah. No one is the player that I've had my eye on that has just been so aggressive and confident throughout all of the games we've seen thus far.
Yeah, no one, I think, for me, is easily one of the top 5, possibly top 10 SFs in the world right now. I believe that his Shadow Fiend trumps many others, solo mids, and then on top of that, I think Solo is another person to really look at. As Blitz was kind of talking about, me and him have cast a lot of Vega Squadron games, and, you know, watching Vega, Solo always seems to manage to get so much farm in the 4 position.
Yeah, that's something I look for too. He kind of occupies that AUI position, but he even takes it like the next step of greed, where he'll buy like a Null Talisman first and Lina, and just try to farm for like the next 15 minutes. And the crazy thing is, they just get away with it because the rest of their cores always know where to be. Nobody gets caught out, and it just feels like Mag especially has kind of come into his own as this offlaner. Yeah, he's been playing Brood a lot, obviously, and that's something that IG is going to pay attention to, but that's not the only hero that he's going to be limited to.
Yeah, the weirdest thing is that I have these things coming out of my mouth and I'm just like, oh, what a great team fight for Vega Squadron, and then a tower goes down on the other side of the map and I'm just like, oh, that's Solo split pushing at the same time. Like, somehow they're able to match that kind of aggression. It's layers on layers, I feel like, where they're able to go, okay, they bring in their carry, they bring in no one as well as the mid, and they just go, okay, time to fight, time to force some, you know, force some action, and then on the side they have Solo farming away. He's able to get a whole bunch of farms, some split pushing. Next thing you know, he jumps into the battle. He's got a Yule Scepter and Aghanim Scepter on Lina by like 25 minutes, and you're just going, how did that even happen as a 4 position?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's switch gears. Let's talk about Invictus Gaming now. We need to reiterate they have a stand-in. King J, normally their coach, is playing as their 5. Chuan himself noted that they were surprised at how well he performed on that opening day. Did you guys share in that same surprise?
That being said, for people who are comparatively new to Dota 2, King J is one of the absolute Chinese legends of old.
Oh,
so
yeah.
he's on par with people like Burning and Ferrari and Joe, another player that retired. So like King J definitely has the skill set. It's whether he's still in shape.
And again, the position that he's playing, the sort of Har5, is more, I would say, knowledge and strategy based than mechanics. So even if he is been kind of like back out, right, he still is coaching teams. He still has all that knowledge there.
Yeah, and I want to make mention here, shout out to Bruce GG for these highlights. Rabbit played out of his mind in this series, in this game in particular. This is the game 3 against VP from yesterday where his Brewmaster was just on point.
Yeah, it was actually me and Toby that casted it, I think, and all I could think to myself was, this is just such a team that likes to play aggressively. They never stop running at you. That was kind of the give that I got, but when they get to be the ones that start the fights, initiate the fights, those blink dagger carries that you don't often see, like the Slardar or the Brewmaster, I feel like that's where IG is the strongest.
Yeah, definitely. And we were all a little bit surprised that IG was able to keep up with the tempo against Virtus Pro. I mean, VP is usually the team that's used to setting the tone for the game and putting the other team on the back foot. And ended up IG were the aggressors in a lot of those matches.
Yeah, we were sitting backstage with PPD from EG, and he was like, at 7-minute mark, there's 5 TPs coming, or 4 TPs coming in on the bottom tier 1 tower. That's just all of IG TPing in just to match the aggression coming out from Virtus Pro, and he's like almost dumbstruck by the counter aggression from IG, and that it's not something we've been used to seeing out of Chinese teams especially.
Yeah, absolutely. So initial thoughts, do you think either team has an edge coming into this series? Blitz, I'm curious about what you think about this in general. Is this more of a coin flip matchup for you?
The way that I look at it, IG is going to want to get aggressive around like the 12-13 minute mark. That's pretty similar to where Vega hits their item timings with their BKBs or their mechs. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of head-to-head clashes around that time. For me, it just depends on the ban pick phase. If they can get one of their Star Wars heroes like the Broodmother on Mag, which after yesterday, I really doubt that IG should give up if they're listening.
Yeah.
Like we saw them recently play against like Funfyongs. They were like up 2-0 and then they were just like, okay, we're going to ban Brood every single game first fave because they'll pick it every single time. So for me, it just depends on how well Mag can adjust to not playing the Broodmother and how they can adjust to playing around a different hero.
What is his other go-to heroes when Brood is not in the pool? Is it Clockwork or
Tusk? I think he makes a really good. See, the thing about Vega is that I'm a bit concerned about is that their drafting, I think, is very standard. They have their style and they stick to it very often. So when they want to go for the Broodmother, you'll see them. They'll ban it away the Darkseer first, and then they'll go for the Tusk second because they want to take away those other offlaners, and then they pick up the Brood in the first 1-2. It's just the same kind of repeat performance over and over, and that's the one thing I'm a bit concerned about.
All right, well, with that said, our teams are ready to enter the stage. We've got Dakota with the team introductions.
All right, beautiful people of New York and everybody watching at home, it's time to introduce our second semifinal of the evening. So let's go ahead and get those teams out there. Introducing Vega Squadron and Invictus Gaming. Woo! Now let's go ahead and throw it right back to the experts over at the Alpha Draft Analyst Panel. Enjoy.
All right, thank you very much, Dakota. And here you can see the square of both sides matching up with one another. 9 Pasha and Rabbit on the position 1. Should be an interesting matchup indeed. So where does that leave us? I want to hear the predictions, broad strokes from the rest of the panel here. Melk, do you kind of think this is a coin flip matchup, or what are your thoughts coming in?
It could very well be a 50-50 matchup. I think it all comes down to the draft, as well as we've seen in most of the other games. It's 2 teams that are very equal in strength, I feel. It also comes down to the middle lane. It's this very legendary player in Ferrari going up against no one who's been really coming into his own the past year. So, yeah, very interesting matchup for me.
I'm curious about key picks. I mean, we've talked about the Brood a little bit. Any other heroes that come to mind that may be key heroes in this matchup?
I really feel like, again, Tusk and Clockwork, I mean, there's a reason that Mag oftentimes drafts his hero first because he usually performs incredibly well on Vega Squadron. I think that's really where Vega Squadron can stand out over IG, is their offlaner performance. But, I mean, Blitz, you got the opportunity to cast that Brewmaster. Rabbit, you did pretty insane things.
Yeah, it just felt like that was a hero that people hadn't really been picking whatsoever, but it kind of fit their style of aggression. In the second game, they picked a Slardar. He just wasn't able to get a Blink Dagger at any phase of the game, and then they're just like, okay, we're going to pick this Brewmaster, we're going to run a mid-game kind of tempo-style lineup, and that seems to be what they shoot for. The contested heroes for me this game are going to be the Shadow Fiend especially. That's a hero that's a Ferrari special. He ran it twice yesterday, I think, and at the same time, like you said, no one excels at the hero. So I felt like that's going to be one of the contested heroes. Another hero is the Ember Spirit. That seems to be, ever since the Phantom Lancer nerf, that's like 9 Pasha Bishu's hero. Like, that's the one that he really wants to go to. And when Ember first came onto the scene, Ferrari was obviously one of the kind of like innovators of that hero. And so those are the two heroes for me that I'm going to look out for.
Now, I thought we were going to see a lot more Doom in this tournament. When we came in at day one, we've seen him played a little bit. Is he truly a good counter against the Ember Spirit? Because that's one that I tend to think of to try and deal with that hero pretty effectively.
The way that I think about Doom as a hero is that everyone always says, oh, he counters this mobile hero or that mobile hero. But the way that you should be thinking about it is Doom is annoying against everybody. Like, if you're a core position player and you get doomed, it kind of has the same effect on every hero.
Right.
But I honestly feel like if the Ember Spirit is really quick and he plays the movement game well, it's hard for the Doom to keep up, because Doom also wants to split his farm, he wants to split his time, and if Ember senses any sort of like disturbance, he's like, okay, this is a little bit weird, Doom hasn't shown up on the map, we warded their jungle, he's not there, then you can just play incredibly defensively.
Yeah, there's still an animation to Doom, so if you have that instant jump back, you should be able to get away from the Ember Spirit. I do agree with you, though, that I feel like Doom perhaps a little bit underpicked, because I did think he was one of the big winners of 6.85. I mean, the Scorched Earth buff alone just made that ability so, I think, overpowered.
What do you think about Spectre now that we're talking about heroes that we may have expected more in the tournament? Spectre came out in game 1, the opening game of the tournament, and now we haven't seen it since.
I think that Spectre is a hero that, yeah, he got a lot of buffs because of the Manta and because Radiance got a little bit cheaper and the way that the damage block works, but I think it's still a hero that is incredibly greedy, and you have to kind of like really focus your attention and play around it. And if the early game doesn't go well, I feel like there are just better carry options out there.
Yeah, to build on that, I feel like it's perhaps a pick that many teams don't feel is very safe, just because of the fact that, yes, Spectre works well with aggression because you're able to be a part of those kills, and that's how you rapidly build up towards that Radiance, but it's also not a hero that's going to be able to contribute that much in the early game. And you're still seeing teams, especially many of these very aggressive teams, opting for the same old very aggressive heroes like Gyrocopter, who are able to provide so much.
All right, well, with all that said, folks, we've got our draft underway for game number 1 of Vega and IG, and they're not wasting any time. Shadow Fiend and Alchemist taken out of the pool by Vega, Wisp as well as Broodmother banned out by IG straight away.
There's that Ember Spirit.
Good call there, Blitz.
Yeah, the Shadow Fiend was banned out by Vega Squadron just because they're not on the Radiant side. It's a little bit difficult to make it work on the Dire side, and on top of that, if you want to go for the Queen of Pain and IG is going to leave it open, then that's a pretty good pickup. And on the other side, Ember Spirit does really well against the Queen of Pain in the mid game, just because you can go for the animation canceling Searing Chains, and that 2-second lockdown, almost every single time you can blow up the Queen of Pain.
Yeah, that's a good point. And we've seen a big change in Ember Spirit in terms of now the Boots of Travel seem to be the go-to early item on him. Is that truly just the build now? Is it objectively better than what we used to see with a drum build up or just that early battle fury?
It's just the mobility and like the ability to be everywhere on the map at any time of the game is just so strong. It's like a good Furion.
I agree. I feel like that there's so much of this meta is currently based around that 15 to 25 minute marker, and Ember Spirit does hit a certain kind of early peak than most other carries, in that you are able to do so much with that Flame Guard and the chains that you want him to be as active as possible, but still be able to get farm to build into that.
At the same time, there's zero downtime because of it, so you can like optimize your farm. If you're just playing the farm game, you'll be on every lane whenever you want to. You never have to really spend time going back to base.
Yeah. And some of it also, we've seen Boots of Travel but buffed continually. I mean, now it has a much shorter cooldown than your regular TP scroll and those sort of things that have also kind of encouraged this build over the last few patches. Second pick, Rubik for IG, certainly in their comfort zone, the team that is known for playing this hero much more than any other.
I was about to say, when it comes to predictions and supports, I mean, Rubik's going to be one of the most obvious ones for IG. If they don't second pick it, they'll probably go for the third pick.
Yeah, it's
every time.
A very expected draft so far.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of the other teams have prioritized picking their supports early on, whereas these two teams are very similar in what core positions that they like in terms of the carry and the mid lane. So Queen of Pain and Ember Spirit were the two picks that you could expect with this kind of bans coming out. These would need to be picked up at the very first.
For me, I'm looking for the Earthshaker, Tusker, Winter, Wyvern for Vega Squadron. Those are 3 of the heroes that they like to pick, but I forgot that Gyro was still in.
Yeah.
How could you forget about Gyro, Blitz?
Everyone was like, he got nerfed. No. He just went from being like the craziest hero in Dota 2 to just being really, really, really good.
I mean, his kill power with that Rock Barrage is still insane. He's one of the, again, going back to the difference between Gyrocopter and Spectre, really, I think, sets what ESL One New York has kind of been so far. Some teams have experimented with some of those carries that are a little bit more farm-oriented, but we still feel very safe with those self-sufficient carries that are able to be left alone in lane or even get aggressive and go for kills.
is. Definitely. So next round of bans underway. Vega will take out the Darkseer straight away. We've seen a very little Darkseer play this tournament. He has just been consistently banned game after game.
And when he hasn't been banned, no one has actually cared to pick him up. It's just like, it's sort of a flavor pick. There's just offlaners who like to play certain heroes and who prefer staying away from other heroes. For instance, in the Secret games, we haven't seen a single Darkseer ban as far as I recall.
I was actually so set that Vega Squadron were going to leave the Tusk out there and go for that as their offlaner, because I felt like Mag's heroes were kind of being dropped off one by one, and I felt like they wanted to go for the Tusk simply because it combos really well with the Gyrocopter. Their aggression is so good.
You know what's coming up for Mag?
10 seconds remaining.
Centaur.
Centaur.
I think so.
That Star Ladder meme, but I really liked Earthshaker for either team here, just because it works well. Like you said, you know, Doom, what he suffers from is you don't have that instant initiation to kind of close the gap, but Earthshaker does well against both of these cores, so that's a kind of expected ban out. But for IG, I think they actually need a damage dealing support. Like, if you look at their lineup, they actually sorely lack burst damage. What are you going to actually do when you chains up the Queen of Pain, for example? You need something to follow up.
I mean, how do you feel about the support Lina on this patch, Blitz?
I think it's okay, but the damage from the Q has been nerfed so heavily that it's harder to harass and it's harder to get the lead up that you used to. Because before, what ends up happening is you get a Yule Scepter, and then you can always naturally progress into the Aghanims, and then you're pretty much a core. But, alright, I was just about to say they needed a burst. That's the best possible one.
There you go.
You can't just pick Rubik plus like a Winter Wyvern. I feel like that's almost entirely too defensive.
And it's very good against the Queen of Pain.
Yeah, exactly.
Sort of forces her hand in terms of item build as well.
And this isn't too surprising coming from IG. They picked this in Game 3 against Virtus Pro, where they did in fact take a win.
Yeah.
This makes, I think, the Clockwork a very high priority pickup on either side, just because of the fact that it couples really well with the Skywrath Mage, and I still think it's one of the better mag heroes left.
Yeah, so they take the Lina. That's kind of expected, just because Solo just loves playing the hero, and they also needed a burst damage support to deal with the Ember Spirit.
One recurring theme in the picks of Vega right now is the fact that the Gyrocopter, I don't feel like it was necessary to pick up in the first pick phase, and then this Lina pickup, when we already see the Rubik and the Skywrath mates and they have another pickup, and they're lagging the offlaner for Mag right now, it sort of makes me believe that they have this ace in the hole pick for Mag, because they don't feel like they need to secure the Clockwork, whereas this Lina pick wouldn't have been contested by Invictus whatsoever.
There aren't too many ace-in-the-hole offlaners that I can think of that are kind of left. There's like the Night Stalker, whose silence would help to control the Ember Spirit.
Beastmaster?
It's a little questionable. Beastmaster would actually be a really good one.
Synergizes fairly well with Gyrocopter in the late game as well.
Yeah.
I think IG should take Clock, because I don't think it does anything for Vega Squadron's lineup. Okay.
Oh, there's the Doom.
I think the Doombringer is a really great pickup. Again, I know you just said it's good against everything, but it's especially good against the Queen of Pain.
It's one of those heroes where you look at it and you're like, okay, if you look at Doom as an ability, it almost sounds broken. It's like you literally can't do anything. But you actually have to be ahead to run this hero, because what ends up happening is you blink in, you Doom, you get bursted down immediately, and then the enemy team just disengages, waits half a second, and then all of a sudden Doom just doesn't really contribute anything to a fight. Like, you have to be the aggressors.
Yeah, that's why I was very concerned about this Doom pickup. I really thought a much more aggressive offlaner like Clockwork would work better for IG, simply because I don't feel like you are going to be able to establish an early lead against heroes like Queen of Pain, Gyrocopter, and even Lina. And sure enough, there's the Mag Clockwork. Despite the fact that it's not amazing versus Ember Spirit, it's still a great Mag hero, and I think it's worthwhile against the other supports.
At the same time, do you feel like Clockwork is amazing against Queen of Pain and Gyrocopter?
I think it's good against Gyro, actually, in the late game, just because you can just get a Force Staff, force them out. You naturally build into items that counter him. Like, if you go for the Blade Mail, then the Gyrocopter can't go for the drums or the SNY. He just has to go for the BKB first, and that's almost just a win as a pick right there.
It's also the synergy with the heroes that they already have.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, definitely. Skywrath Mage and Clockwork.
Like, Rubik almost hard counters Clockwork, because you just lift as soon as he cogs in, and you can't lock down Ember either.
I mean, they have a huge amount of control on the side of IG between the chains, the telekinesis, 2 silences as well across the Skywrath and the Doom. Final bands coming out. Razor taken out by Vega, and the Winter Wyvern, 5th band here by IG.
It's a good ban by IG.
Whoa.
Yeah, you needed some sort of aggressive carry that was able to get online early. I thought Razor was a very smart ban, but there's still plenty of other carries available. Sven does fit that kind of bill.
So we've seen Sven mostly paired with a Wisp kind of taxi service to really turbo farm through the mid game. How does Sven stand on his own?
He's okay, but it's one of those heroes where Clockwork is going to do pretty well against him. He's not really going to have the mobility that, say, a Queen of Pain or a Gyrocopter will, just because Gyro runs so damn fast, but you actually need some sort of lockdown now. Winter Wyvern would have been perfect for Vega Squadron's lineup, actually.
Yeah.
Reserve time.
You need a control support, though, for sure.
So what do you think of
Bane is still the only one left?
The alternative to Sven could have been the new and improved Chaos Knight, right? I feel like that could have been a great pickup.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I actually like that a little bit better. I think no matter what you're going to be doing, you're going to be running something like Sven, Chaos Knight, or Slardar. One of those like early aggression heroes that usually picks up a blink.
There is a lot of AoE wave clear, though, on the side of Vega, to be fair, to deal with the Chaos Knight, at least through the mid-game. So I do understand the Sven from that perspective. And it's nice to have another stun. Ancient Seal, what a spell.
What's the last support here for Vega Squadron? All I can think of is Bane.
And I think that makes sense.
It sets up the Lina. It's a controlling hero. I think it works pretty well versus Sven. Whether or not you can get a Fiend's Grip on Ember Spirit is questionable, but it's at least a lockdown
What about
spell.
something like a Witch Doctor? Having that heal to sustain through someone who's doomed? You get the cask bouncing around, some nice physical damage.
It's a really hard game for a Bane Elemental when playing up against the Radiant lineup. There's a Rubik, like, you're just gonna give away.
Yeah, Fiend's Grip every single time.
Yeah,
That's
and then Skywrath made to easily stop it. Sven the same thing, Ember Spirit the same thing. Doom has two ways of doing it as well. Bane is not a go-to hero here.
Maybe Naga, just so you can reset the fight against a Doom. Like
Naga
you just,
Oh, yeah, that's good. I like Naga Siren. Just because I couldn't think of another controlling hero that would work.
You reset the fight against the Doom. The net's pretty good against the Sven as well. Okay, they needed something like that.
Shadow
It's a
Demon.
Shadow Demon.
Shadow Demon is really good against the Doom and the Sven as well with the Demonic Purge.
Yeah.
Okay, we've seen very little Shadow Demon recently, but I often feel like he's a somewhat forgotten about support. Yeah?
He combos really well with a hero like Lina.
Okay, very good. So, quick round of predictions before we hand it over to the casters. Cap, we want to start with you. Now that we've seen the draft, who do you think is taking game one?
Well, my faith is a little shaken after VP lost like that, but I will double down on the CIS region, Vega Squadron.
I just like IG's draft better. I think that they can get the ball rolling a lot sooner. I thought Doom was a pretty good pick, but more than anything, I feel kind of a little bit shaky about the Clockwork pick. And I feel like Shadow Demon, if you get behind it all, that's a hero that just drops off.
Okay, and quickly, Melk?
Completely agree with William. It's just a very well-rounded lineup from IG, and I think they're going to have the upper hand.
All right, with that said, we're going to hand it over to our casters. Game one of IG versus Vega starts now.
That it does, and it'll be myself, W1, here with Merlini to take you through this best of three. And a game which I really feel can be absolutely exciting. Like, IG play terrific Dota, as long as they don't get a little too over-aggressive, and Vega, they're the new kids in the block that have been performing really well here at the tournament so far.
And there's no Broodmother.
And there's no Broodmother or Alchemist, which makes for a very entertaining time.
What do you think about the Sven pick?
Man, I'm actually a huge fan of Sven. To see so much armor come in, you'll see someone like Gyrocopter become really, really ineffective. The chase is great, the stunts are good.
Or what about the quad?
Yeah, the Queen of Pain is always going to be a problem, but as the panel was saying, as long as IG can be the aggressors, they can walk over Vega. You can shut down that Queen of Pain by getting an early Blink Dagger on the Doom, getting that Doom on the Queen of Pain, and then Sven just charges in, and he gives away for the heroes like Doom to get back out without losing their life. And we're not even bringing the Ember Spirit into the equation at that point.
Yeah, I feel like Shadow Demon is a really important hero in this lineup. You can easily get bursted down by Ember Spirit if you're out of position, but at the same time you can save so many people from Mystic Flare, Sven Burst. You can Demonic Purge the Sven and just kite him all day.
Yeah.
It's a tricky position for both the Sven and the Shadow Demon.
He's the one that can really screw up that initiation of Invictus Gaming. I like it. Not a bad combo as well for the roaming combo. So when Seema as well as Solo decide to combine together and they just smoke rotate, you've got these early boots over on the Shadow Demon, so he can get himself in range and cause real troubles. Right now he's just trying to make life difficult for Ferrari in the mid lane, but Ferrari's got a PMS, he's got a decent amount of consumables up his sleeve. It shouldn't be that difficult for him in these early stages, but he did go Sleight of Fist level 1, and it's just harassment, nothing more. Maybe they're hoping you can trap him on the wall.
That's the dodge. When I saw Miracle play this matchup versus Vega's Queen of Pain, Miracle got destroyed because he went a 2-0-3 build with no Sleight. If you get level 1 Sleight, you can actually dodge the Queen of Pain and kind of get out of that troubling phase, especially if she goes for level 2 Shadow Strike.
Are you a big... Oh, Luo can't actually walk himself down there solo. He can trap him on the corner, and that's exactly the position he's in. Luo's got no way out. Vega will be taking first blood for a simple rotation from Shadow Demon. He came up to the stairwell and blocked that one hero width area, and made it so Doombringer had no escape mechanism. The downside about an offlane Doom, how do you survive when you don't even have Scorched Earth?
They don't really have any catches. I mean, Doom should not be a factor, I would say, after this start. Like, he can't really go into the jungle at this point because Gyro's going to push down his tower very, very early with the early Ring of Protection. And Ferrari's getting pressured a lot in the mid lane. Sven, you're not terribly worried about getting free farm. He takes a lot to come online. You need like treads plus blink and then like a mask if you want to do a lot of damage, and then eventually you need a BKB. Mag.
Okay, that's not where he wants to be. Telekinesis, and he's gotten cliffed on the side of Roshan. This courier's going to come out, but at the same time, the courier is going to walk close enough that this observer ward will be able to see it on the bottom lane. So if IG want to contest it, they could, but they're not going to waste any time. They know they've taken the clockwork out for a short period of time, and that's value in itself.
Yeah, it frees up Chuan to kind of help out the other lanes, and maybe Luo can get some more levels on top. He is level 2 at this moment. He shared the experience from the Devour with Sima.
He's got to use... Okay, so this is really difficult for Mag. He's going to bring the courier inside of Roshan. He needs to actually use the handoff item command. Okay, he doesn't have to do it. He can do it from outside. But you can't just directly say, courier, give me this TP scroll. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, it's not the biggest deal. It would have been like 5 seconds until courier upgrade. They didn't lose out too much with that, I'd say.
Luo. This time he's got Scorched Earth, as now give him the regeneration and movement speed to get away in time. But that's one Rocket Barrage, a Slave, and a Light Strike array. And you basically kill off the Doom.
Solo's walking around. And Luo has no Scorched Earth up.
Might be a little bit more worried about bottom lane, however. Mag just gets popped with that Storm Bolt. With the Warcry, they have the movement speed to get him, but you are right, top lane. This is where Luo ends up dying. And they don't even need Pasha to be here, but in fact, yeah, they didn't even use Rocket Barrage. It's an easy kill in for the Shadow Demon.
I think he needs to eat up better creep to kind of even think about surviving in the lane, as well as that Observer Ward being a little bit better. It hasn't spotted, I don't think, the Shadow Demon at all on either rotation.
He needs that aura. Like, right now, like, having Swiftness aura is not really the greatest. Like, attack speed doesn't really mean much.
But he pushes out the lane, Toby.
That's a mute point.
But Ferrari's kind of doing, he's doing very fine on the Ember Spirit. Generally, you don't see Ember Spirits this healthy in the mid lane, and this is before his bottle is getting refilled. So that's a really good position for him. We saw Noah's Queen of Pain yesterday just decimate, and you kind of need to limit him in the lane and get a fair amount of CS. So 12 to 18, I would say that's actually a win for Ember in this particular matchup, especially with Shadow Demon coming in the early game.
Yeah, especially too when IG are going to do what you kind of already expect them to do, and that's this kind of pressure. Like, you got Chuan moving up around the tree line, and Mag really feels the pressure. He has to back up, and in fact, he's asked for support. So Sima has rotated down to this bottom lane, while Rabbit, there's no God Strength, so not really inflicting a heavy chunk of damage into that tier 1 tower. But Vega, like, they needed to bring the Lina down here because she's the only wave clear they've really got beyond a level 2 rocket.
And we see Rabbit go a very unusual build, the 2-2-1. You almost always see like 3-0-1 or 3-0-2. One level 1 stats optional, so you can stun more often. He does have the Mango for another stun, but they don't actually have that many stacks to work with. Ancients aren't stacked at all.
They're coming top, but at the same time, Chuan, what a time for a rotation. He picks up the gyro.
And Luo will just walk away. Very nice throwaway by Chuan, so he doesn't get owned by the Rocket Barrage. But they don't have that many stacks for Rabbit. I wonder what he's going to be farming. Generally, if you see the Cleave build, you see an early Helmet Dominator, so he can stack Ancients for himself, but you only see the one large camp stack 3 times, and Luo might have to go there.
Well, I just swallowed some pride.
And now Ferrari's almost level 6, so that's really, really good for Ember Spirit. The first like 5 or 6 minutes is the worst time for this Ember. Thanks, man.
Alright, so
Are you okay, Toby? Are you alive?
I gotta get my mind back in the game, bro. It's just out of there for a moment. I'm like, great, Sean rotation. This is one way to do it. Maybe if King J can get that concussive shot off, but no, Mag. He'll be fine just picking up that room. Really feels like a lot of these movements as well, like IG, Chorn's moving up to that top lane, just stopping these ganks. Every time, like, maybe IG or Vega are finding an opening, it just gets closed.
Yeah. Vega did have better vision, but now Chuan dewarding this top. I'm pretty sure that Vega saw him play some Zero Ward of his own.
Yeah, Seema might be able to punish him. He's coming in with the illusion runes, but actually instead it's the SD who's having the fun up on top lane. Luo, he's got Catch It as well as Disruption, and with the Light Strike Array connecting, there's a perfect rotation in there from Lina. They've got the illusions to ensure they can get back past the tower, and in fact the creep wave comes in too.
But this area has been blind for like way too long for them. The Shadow Demon has come there, the Lina has come there, Doom kind of died for First Blood in that particular place. So, I mean, Luo's just had a miserable time just because the Lord was slightly off.
It's surprising they don't give him more support, knowing that Doombringer isn't really one of these heroes that you can efficiently transfer over to the jungle. You can go down there, but it's not efficient. So you would have expected IG to put a little bit more time and effort into that top lane.
Yeah, I think that like Ferrari can come in, Skywrath can come in. Like either of these players can at least get 1 kill, probably 2 kills once Ember Spirit's 6, but looking to maybe just farm a little bit more before things happen. I mean, at the same time, like no one can respond by TPing on his own, and it's probably much more devastating to pop TP soon. But she's kind of quiet.
No one. Gonna get Searing chained up a little bit. Ferrari, I'm actually waiting for when he feels like he's got enough to jump. Like when you got a couple of Fire Remnants stacked up, normally that's when Ferrari gets very aggressive against his opposite mid. But can he even do that up against a Queen of Pain?
Not if she goes for a tanky build. Looks like she's going for an early treads and almost has it, so it'll be very risky diving that far. He'll have to take a lot of tower shots. He's good at taking like magic damage from the rest of the lineup, but you can't tower dive that heavily as Ember.
You know what I'm getting flashbacks to? I'm getting flashbacks to EG a couple of months before TI happened, where you have something like a Sven, which is a very fear-style hero, and then you give him the Morbid Mask. Instantly moves into the jungle, he can farm up because he went 3 points up in the cleave, and that gives the space now for the Skywrath Mage to ensure he gets level 6, and not just that, gets items on supports.
Well, actually, they might have taken the Sven to try and contest gyro stacks. That's, I think, a big benefit of the hero that a lot of other carries don't have. But we see a smoke and...
Cam mid. That's a 3-man smoke moving down past the Radiant Ancients, and Chuan, he feels it too because there's no one up on top lane. The Dire Observer Ward also knows that IG's not there, but he's actually protecting up against Rabbit. That's a big pickup. It's going to get the follow-up Sonic. No, it doesn't even set up on Pasha, but then with that Stormbolt doing some work, it's not enough. Rabbit actually walks back into the Rocket Barrage. They'll Doom over on the Gyro. Now Solo's going to burn down to the feet. Well, yep, there it is. Just that Slide of Fist to do the work from the Ember Spirit. Pasha, he's got no other help out of here, so Doom will find the last hit there. The Scorched Earth was actually burning through the SD, so it ends up being a 2-for-2 trade-off. You trade just Ven and your Rubik for the Gyro as well as the SD.
Yeah, not bad. Ideally, they would have just cut the Sven, but I mean, it's still risky. They can't actually kill the Ember Spirit. If you lift him up, he'll just slide after. Or I don't think they can hit a blind stun on him. So, I mean, he can just come in. It's only 1 screen away. So I think that's a very risky venture for them and sacrifices a lot of Gyro's mid-game, I think, because of that gank.
It also accelerates Ferrari. Like, you give a kill over to an Ember Spirit, you're going to push his next items up a lot sooner. And you're trying to get something back in return. They're going to do so on the bottom lane. Disruption, Catcher, King J into the tree line. Actually, with the movement speed and Mag getting sealed up, he couldn't really follow up with the control, and that allows Ferrari to go for these kills. He's still got a couple of spirits available. Jumps forward. The orb will not be enough to kill off Mag. Just chip him down and force him back a little bit further. But a foul gank there from Vega. But they didn't really expend too much for that. Like, it wasn't a big hook shot cooldown. They did use the Purge of SD, however.
He used his Remnant a little bit late. If he had used it before he got purged, he would have been able to get the kill. But he has to be careful not to use his Flame Guard too early.
Oh, no one. This could be the perfect time. He's coming up and actually going to have the smoke broken. Chuan's here to throw back that Queen of Pain. He was babysitting the blinking forward from no one. He actually connects on Sven. He had the Mask of Madness up, and that's why the bonus damage. But really, with a double kill coming in, Rubik and Sven, and they find this stack. They can't clean. Actually, Seema can do a little bit of it, but not much more. He doesn't have fiery soul levels up, and Ferrari's making his way over. At the same time, Pasha wants to keep the fight going. Very icy. The seal will come in, and Ferrari just goes to work with the Mystic Flare. No one. He's got no more burst damage. That screams on cooldown. Ferrari's going to spirit away. Lacuna Blade comes out from Seema, and he connects with a Slave down the hill and far away, including the hook shot from no one. Blinks forward to join Mag. And it's 9-4. Vega, they're going so deep for these kills. I wonder if they can get out of it safely because Rabbit comes in, the double stun, looking for the cleave damage. They get the follow-up telekinesis, which will buy him a little bit more time. However, with that disruption solo, at least ensures he won't die to Rabbit, but he'll still die to that Doombringer. So they don't get out scot-free.
The Mask of Madness build is super risky by Rabbit. I mean, he has a lot of magic damage to deal with. I think if they have, like, you know, Dazzle or something like that, which Warcry I think is really effective against, then he can get away with it. But as it's come so far, he's died 2 times while his Mask of Madness has been popped, and some of them have come from, like, the Queen of Pain burst, and I think like a Blink HMD might be a little bit safer for him, but at the same time, Mask is much faster for farming if you have someone else stacking for you.
Yeah.
And he does have a secondary damage dealer, Ember Spirit, if he does die early in the fight.
It's sort of a greed build. Pasha's in a lot of trouble. However, the Searing Chains from Ferrari is not going to hit. The Doom and the Mystic Flare, however, ripping through Pasha. There is a possibility for a Denali from Solo, and that's why he starts up with Disruption. They'll have to tag him straight away, but Doom already finds the kill. They move over to Solo, and they've actually got the stuns from the Golems inside Luo. That's why he had a little bit more extra control, but unfortunately for Luo, he is very much stranded. Laguna Blade, 4 poison stacks as well from Solo, and they will ensure the kill on the Doom. But it's a Jaro for a Doombringer. Doom's not as low as I thought he was, but still, not the greatest trade in the world.
And Chuan getting picked off by the Queen of Pain here.
Yeah, up on top. The Rocket Wolf flying in just to help out. Nothing like a haste room for a Queen of Pain.
King Jace has had some really good silences on Clockwork, both on that top fight and the bottom fight. Clockwork could be so much more disruptive.
I love how Doom still got a presence in the jungle, because he died, he actually gets these Doom shots, which fly around with their own stunts. And he's battling into Solo, and help set up for Ferrari. The defensive stun will be there, and where's your extra control? The Doomlings will not survive much longer. And in fact, Ferrari getting purged up. He's got help coming in from King J. Mystic Flare is also available, and Vega will not force the issue any further.
That purge is so useful versus the Ember Spirit. It's pretty much like an 800 damage nuke if you get it right as soon as he casts Flame Guard, which he has done a couple of times. But Ferrari still has Tread, so he has kind of accounted for this in his item build. And a lot of smokes have been blown through the past couple of minutes to try and kill these early stacks. And this really underfarmed Gyrocopter after the start that he's gotten 1 and 3. There's like so many tanky heaters that are just like right on his face. Generally you have the Rocket Barrage to kind of dissuade them from bum rushing you, but not these guys.
Man, I actually kind of want to go back to this it's the golems inside of Doombringer. Not only do you have like the stuns after, like it was Blitz who was saying, like you just jump in, you get your Doom off, and maybe you probably won't get back out again. But he has a presence afterwards, and now here they go again over to the Gyrocopter. Your first stun disruption from Solo will buy a little bit more time. Last like a race stops Rabbit from attacking, and in comes no one. A huge Sonic Wave hitting again with that Mask of Madness turned on, and Doom, well, you can have multiple versions of him again, but Pasha will mop it up this time around. And there's 2 cores down for IG, and Vega sacrificing absolutely nothing of value.
And Sven has just so much trouble having uptime on any of these guys.
Then again, no one hook shot over, and Ferrari could Searing Chains with a Mystic Flare. Well, okay, value was lost. Ember Spirit gets himself a double kill now, 4-1 on him, but King J, the perfect positioning from this stand in Skywrath.
Yeah, the play from these supports is quite extraordinary this game. They're predicting a lot of the movements and just being ready to blow up heroes in a matter of half a second to a second. No one has time to react to do anything.
It's very useful with the vision they've already managed to claim. Like, there's 2 very early Observer Wards. That initial gank that they did, it gets them vision all across the dire jungle area. If anyone moves in there, IG already know about it. And when they, also with the positioning of the wards, they know when Vega going to rotate down from the jungle.
We're seeing some BKB rushes. Everyone just wants to tank up so they stop dying. Queen of Pain going for BKB, and skipping the point booster. And Sven looks like also going for a BKB early.
I kind of wish he doesn't turn on his Mask of Madness during those fights. It's hurt so much just to watch it, let alone live it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really tough, though. Like, how is he going to stun someone and then not get Cog pushed back, or Queen of Pain blinked, or defensively disrupt, or Demonic Purge, or Lina stuns like that? He has a lot of problems without a BKB. Even with one, I still think it's really difficult for him.
And Ferrari does so much damage to that Gyrocopter. Just 1 Sleight of Fist Searing Chain, and Gyro drops below half life. He had to soak up 2 Urn Charges to get his life back. And Ferrari's got spirits all over this bottom lane. Underneath the tier 1 tower as well, Vega. Do you really want to try and force this, Mag? Actually not in a bad position for a hook. The problem is he's got no vision of Ferrari running back. And while all this is going on, you've got Luo who's finding space in the middle lane to finish up this desperately needed mech. And Sean's finding space up on the top lane just to enjoy his farm. He's already got level 8, so he's fine with that. But having someone like a Sven here, you got Fortification available for Vega, so hand of, like, okay, he does actually pop off that God Strength, so the Fortification will come out.
I actually really like Luo's build this game. He's going to die, and he's going to die a lot. So you might as well get as much reliable gold as you can with the Hand of Midas and take as much damage as you can with a mech.
Get out of there, Rabbit. No one is ready to jump. Chuan's also here. Now the Doombringer hasn't arrived in time, and Mag! That's the second time today a recent change that came out in the patch. You can't hookshot through catapults anymore, and then Chuan shows them how to do it. Hookshots up to Seema, isolating the Lina. They find the pickoff, and not just that, Ferrari's in deep here with Lure, but the Sonic Wave obliterates the Ember Spirit, and they have to get back out of here. The Warcry is going to help out Lure with a high amount of movement speed from this one. No one's going to try and remove it with that Shadow Strike, and he'll just TP out. Battery Assault, can Mag get in range? They have the disruption from Solo. That'll do the work. Isolating Lure, pushing him back with the cogs, and be a double kill coming out for the Queen of Pain.
Wow, the Shadow Demon is just crushing Ember Spirit. Like, he can't escape. As soon as he gets purged, he tries to throw his Remnant, and they're like slowly walking, like a step every couple of seconds to try and escape, and he's kind of caught out without his Flame Guard and just dies every single time. This is really rough for Ferrari.
It's like, how do you get past that? Like, put a defensive spirit before every single fight?
Well, ideally you want to blow up Shadow Demon. If you force him to use Disrupt on himself, he's just going to die immediately after. Ideally with like a Sven stun or something like that. But they've been, you know, going on other targets. The Lina has been caught out a couple of times, but it's much better that she dies than I think the Shadow Demon. They've also just been bursting down with pure damage too.
Solo, he won another crack there at Ferrari.
Yeah, as long as Solo's in a pretty good position, they should be able to counter-engage like really, really well. This is with like subpar hook shots, I think, from Mag, as well as him being silenced a couple of times from King J. So imagine if Mag actually gets a good initiation off in a fight, it's going to be brutal.
Yeah, how many times we've really said like that's a great hook shot into then like Cogs and Battery Assault isolating one hero. It hasn't really happened much.
Yeah, I mean, he's not really scared of the Mystic Flare either. Even if he does get that off, they can't counterplay with Mystic Flare.
Especially now he's got Blade Mail. Like that's death to a Skywrath. In fact, now it's King J. He's got to be a little bit more cautious about who he Mystic Flares. Just focus on the SD. If Skywrath Mage is capable of completing, I don't know if he can even go for like a Glimmer Cape, slip him behind, and then seal up the SD. Maybe that's the plan here for IG.
Yeah, they don't have a blink on Doom or a blink on Sven. Like, the only way they can jump the Shadow Demon is if Ember goes on him. And if Ember goes on him, he's likely going to die. So, because he can still purge him while he's chained. So, it's really rough when neither of these strength heroes have a good tool to get in the fight. Yeah. You want them causing disruption, like, immediately from the first stun or the first Doom. And instead, all the craziness that's happened is generally from Vega.
But then does IG, like, it looks like Vega's not going to allow them to do this. They 4-man smoke behind that tier 2 tower. But is that when IG just say, you know what, we'll just keep farming up. The BKB just was completed on Rabbit. So now he just works towards that Blink Dagger and then they go.
Yeah, I definitely think they need a blink to start off the fights. And this is like before Gyro has his BKB and Quap now has her BKB, so now it's going to be increasingly difficult. But IG with incredibly good game sense, dodging a couple of these smoke and 5-man movements from Vega.
Apart from Lure. Lure has a wish to die.
I mean, he's in a really good position.
Hook shot's going to come out, and well, this should be a very quick and easy kill. Lure's still got that mech, so he's not as easy as you'd think it would be. And they do have to stick around a little bit longer for all of this. And IG are happy not to fight that, because in the meantime, Ferrari, he forces out the tier 2 fortification and did a lot of damage, got a lot of farm up here. And Solo, well, he comes up here, but he'll just force him back. But it's the middle lane where they're attacking forward. The seal's on Mag. He can't cogs and keep IG back, but IG can't run fast enough to catch up to him as well.
That's still really good for IG. They lost the hero, but from Vega, the spoils of that fight, you ideally want to be the T1 tower. But T1 tower is still at half HP, and they can't really control the jungle as well as they could, and ideally slip in Roche at some point. But they're not really transitioning from these smoke ganks, because IG, with a good D-ward on that bottom side, inside of their own jungle, and just good positioning by all their players.
It was a trademark too of Vega. Like, you take those fights, and then instantly you then take an objective as well. You get yourself into the fights.
Yeah, and it's a 10-second BKB on Quap use. Yeah, I mean, they don't have an Orchid carrier. I think like a, you know, but 6.840, I rely on like a Storm with the Orchid to just completely shut down the Shadow Demon. But like as of now, they still have no tool to
Here they come. He cuts a shot to slow down Mag. He might get the cogs off, but Seal and Mystic Flare. Now the Blade Mail turns on, but King J taking a considerable amount of damage, but not inflicting enough to kill off Mag.
And the Rabbit's build has just been killing him this game. He can't get close to the clockwork at all.
It's almost like you want to see him with that blink dagger instead of having the Mask of Mana so he can blink BKB and then kill the clockwork off inside of his own cogs.
Yeah, I can understand what he was going for, though. He had a really good start, and he thought he could keep up his farm like really well, get like Mask of Madness and Blink and BKB by this time, but because of Vega's aggression and their deep smokes, he's been punished for it, and I think he's still regretting his Mask of Madness pickup.
It's not even like you can say, IG, well, we're just waiting for late game, right? Because Vega's late game isn't really that terrific, but you look at Vega, it's like, well, actually, their late game could work really well. Top lane, Ferrari, this should be not the perfect timing on the Light Strike array, so not a guaranteed kill. And this is time where Ferrari can stay alive and with a completed Battle Fury, so he's going to be looking for a lot more farm and a lot more aggression.
And that's why Ember was picked a lot at 6.84, because he can dodge ganks like that. You're not really scared of a Yule's initiation or disruption initiation, just because you have the instant cast Sleight of Fist as well as the Remnant, so he's not scared.
Can you even hit that Light Strike array? Like, what is the timing for it? Like,
if played right by Ember Spirit, it's impossible to hit. You need like an Ice Path or something like that?
Or Pasha. Okay, it's they leave an aggressive Observer Ward behind IG, but they don't know, like Vega have no idea what IG were up to. They just took the double stack of Vega and then just ran away. Because with this, Sven now has Blink Dagger. Like, he'll farm this bottom wave and then have Blink Dagger, and we'll TP into this mid lane for the fight.
Yeah, they really want this mid tower.
He's actually TPing already. He buys and goes all the way back to base. He wasn't low on mana. He's going to Warcry the front lines. Also, meanwhile, up in Ferrari land, he's just pushing into the tier 3 tower. Forces Solo to come back and gets a Searing Chain. Solo has to Glimmer Cape to try and escape from it. The Ferrari defensively jumps back out.
I think it's a really good mid-game adaptation by Ferrari. He realizes he can't ever play balls to the wall and go in really deep on the Vega line because of the Demonic Purge. So instead, he's playing a more split-pushy game because Vega loves the 5-man, they love to take objectives, and they want to take Roshan at some point. And they can't do that with the T1 tower up, and he's just kind of splitting them around the map. And now Rabbit has his Blink Dagger. This is the time. Blink, BKB, Mask of Madness. He should obliterate them, and if it catches them off guard.
Man, if they want to jump for this, they're going to go inside the base of Vega. They haven't found anybody.
It's fine. Towers don't really matter because of the level 4 Warcry. You have 20 armor, so you're okay with diving T3s if you can actually get the jump on someone. But they don't have any vision at the area. Still, they plant a pretty good Observer Ward. They have somewhat control of Vega's actions, and more importantly, their tier 1 tower mid still stands.
I actually thought they'd force it a little bit more because that Observer Ward. They placed that one last time when they were up near the Ancient area. But to actually force into the tier 2 tower, maybe put a ward a little bit deeper, that hillside next to the tier 2 on bottom for Vega. Maybe that would have been another option, but for now they have to come back to the mid. So you already have Rabbit TPing in here to defend.
They know Gyro is very vulnerable when he goes to the Ancients, though. He doesn't have any sustain.
Here they go. Mask of Madness jump in with the BKB will trigger up. Solo try to make it difficult for Rabbit to finish off this job on Pasha. The Sonic Wave will connect, but Rabbit taking very minimal damage. And with the Sleight of Fist also connecting in. Mag, the Mystic Flare, King J almost kills himself, but not quite enough. You do actually have the jump forward. No one doomed up for the moment. The Sleight of Fist, he dodges the Laguna Blade. Damn, Ferrari so good on that hero. It's a double kill for King J. Queen of Pain just ticks out from the Doom. And Solo, the last man standing, is about to end up he will go down. Glimmer Cape will not save him. He'll end up popping an IG wipe Vega, and all they lose is the Doombringer, which they've shown time and time again they're happy to let die. Actually, they did lose the Skywrath Mage as well. Looks like the poison ticked him out.
The mobility from the Ember Spirit is crushing Vega right now. They're forced into these bad spots where, okay, well, if we don't push, they're just going to split push us, and we can't really accrue any farm because Gyro is still very vulnerable without a BKB. So they decide to go for a 5-man push, and Luo, it looks like he just runs in and dies, but that's actually all he needs to do to win the fight. He tanked up so much. He tanked, Mag's hookshot, the Cog, and he didn't even get his mech off, but at least he got his Doom off on a very high priority target, the Queen of Pain, and Ember cleans up, and of course, Rabbit finally with his Blink that can actually do something in the fight.
Ferrari battling up against Zima. He dodged the initiation. The hookshot from Mag can't control him. Ferrari takes the kill. He had a double damage rune. And it was the Yule Scepter initiation that attempted once again. And failing once again, Sleight of Fist inflicted a large amount of damage to that Lina. And now also Solo. He'll purge Ferrari in return. And Ferrari's just staring him down. It's like, well, okay, you've just used Purge. Don't have Flame Guard. 2 poison stacks there, but Ferrari, Sleight of Fist Searing Chain Solo, it's not enough to tick out the Glimmer Cape. Protection again, Ferrari, I hope you go Defensive Spirit, or else this is just a interesting choice.
He does have a remnant. I don't know where it is. Oh, it's right by the mid T1 tower, but he didn't expect the burst from the queen. So now they realize that, okay, we have to get an Orchid to lock him down. But by the time he gets the Orchid, he's probably going to have the Manta up, probably, I guess, within like 2 or 3 minutes. If he didn't have that death, he'd probably have it around the same time. But that's one of the downsides of the BKB first on Queen of Pain. It didn't really save her because she got doomed, and it doesn't really do anything versus the Ember Spirit. I guess you won't die, but you need to kill him. You need to limit his farm somehow because Pasha is still very, very poor.
As a Jara comes without big damage dealing items, that's always been the big thing for the Jara, is that last little bit of a hurdle. You can get the SMY to get you through the early point of the game, then your BKB so you can survive in the fights, but until you get something like that Monkey King bar up and running, you just don't really have that fear factor you get from a big flat cannoning Gyrocopter.
Yeah, it's all been about the smokes this game. All those mid-game smokes were like really important that IG dodged them. They got 3 return kills on the one near their stack, and then they smoked an opponent's jungle and got the gyro kill. Those are the ones that just crush your economy. And he wants a BKB. He needs a BKB.
I don't know if that's going to be enough, because I'm looking at Sven now with a Crystallis in his hands, and we know what happens when Sven's able to pick up like a full Daedalus and just cleaves through all of Vega. And they're not really the tankiest of heroes.
Yeah, but they can kite him as like the defensive disruption after he stuns, and then you demonic purge him, and then you cog him and force step yourself out, and he's locked in there for his entire BKB duration.
They just have to make sure everything's going to be there, because with one swing from Sven, he can still take out your entire team, so you need to control him before that point.
Yeah, he has a lot of HP right now, 1900. He needs to make sure that he doesn't take like a Ags Laguna and like a Ags Queen of Pain, but neither of them have the farm for that. So they've been doing a really good job of limiting the farm of Vega.
Solo stab. This is actually quite big because they got the gem. So they're just pulling forward. He's actually able to pet the Glimmer Cape off in time, but it won't save him to get the gem up. And now as Ferrari gets bursted down, Laguna Blade and Sonic Wave being committed, but Laguna Blade stolen by Chuan and used against the Lina. Into a 2-on-1 trade-off, and Mag didn't really want to be here. He might have the blade mail up, but Rabbit just used his BKB. Needs to finish this job, however. The Scorched Earth will actually do the work. And there's 3 kills going the way of IG. They do lose Ferrari very quickly, but you saw the commitment. You said the commitment as well. Like, how much was it going to be? Was Aghanim's burst? They could do it without it, but they had nothing left at that point.
Yeah, I'm surprised he got caught out there. I didn't really see that side of the fight, but at this point you have to throw so many spells to kill Ember or Sven or Doom that the other 2 are just going to clean you up at this point, because all they have on Vega is a mildly farmed Queen of Pain, and she's not even that farmed. She's still 2,000 net worth below the Sven, and Gyro is really, really low on that net worth chart.
Yeah, sitting below Ember, Doom, Queen of Pain, and the Sven.
Maybe that's the thing. Warcry, pick a lot of heroes that can tank up and just run at him.
That's it, man. That's it. Sven was originally the counter tanky, so just Warcry it up and walk through all of his mines. And up against a hero who, like, Pasha's not really getting in range where we're seeing Rocket Barrage really doing a lot of work. So you turn on your flag cannon, and then what do you really got? Like, you don't do enough damage, and then there's a huge bit of armor, so you do even less damage.
Yeah, this is I think, an overall good game plan from IG. They keep the Gyrocopter down, and then they have Warcry to deal with an underfarmed Gyrocopter, and then now they have BKBs to deal with the spells. So he's actually doing very, very little damage in the fights.
And then you ask for Queen of Pain to come in and do the damage, but she just let Sonic Wave go, and then there's nothing left.
Yeah, she had to build BKB, so her Sonic Wave doesn't do that much, and Lina has been kept down, so her Ags is
here they come. Sleight of Fist here in chains, but all of Vegas right behind. Laguna Blade was still there from Chuan, pumping it into that Gyrocopter, but Pasha back to World Living, still gets the call down out, but Luo on the front lines, he's got Doom available. Hasn't really decided on a target just yet, and now no one's moved forward. But Luo is stunned up in the back lines. It just spreads out to a very, very weird kind of fight. Ferrari wants to come back in again as the Doom up in the air. Now he gets the Doom over on that Queen of Pain. Defensive disruption will buy a little bit of time, but it won't stop no one from dying here, especially when Chuan's on the front lines with the Scream, inflicting the damage into Vega. A 3-on-2 trade-off is what we've had. And there's also the numbers that's left for the fight. 22-22, just scrapping it out in the mid lane.
Without a BKB pop from Rabbit, and Vega still lost that fight pretty badly, and the Rubik play this tournament has just been fantastic. From Chuan, from CDEC, like he's stolen Laguna a couple of times, Clockwork hook shot.
And he held on to Laguna before that fight. Might have also been another reason why IG wanted to try and force it. They realized they had all of this extra bonus damage. It took so long for that Doombringer to die. Like, he just sat in the front lines. It's like Vega didn't want to try against him. And he survived for a good 30 seconds without actually casting Doom during that fight.
Yeah, and they just don't really have the damage to kill him at all. Like,
so where's the answer? Like, do we just say, okay, Jaro, get your ass back into the jungle, just farm up as much as you can, stack and farm, stack and farm. That's the plan. Get your Demon Edge up and get into a Monkey King bar.
I actually think Lena Ags is maybe more important because Sven's going to feel safe with his BKB on, and if he pops Mask of Madness and then he takes Ags Laguna, he's going to be down to like a 3rd HP. So that's kind of one hero gone from the fight. He can die from Sonic Wave or something else after that. And then, you know, that's kind of trading off the Doombringer's Doom, who will also eliminate a hero from the fight. But as you mentioned, the Gyrocopter does need to get more arms, so he can actually do the physical damage that the Sven and the Ember are doing at this point.
Well, they're coming. They're force-stuffing forward. That Observer Ward gave the vision to IG, and they're trying to make the most out of this Blink Dagger, which is now on Luo. He switched his aura over to be into that Pack Aura, so there's even more damage kicking in for the rest of IG.
Yeah, the force-ups are pretty important too to keep Ferrari alive. He's going to be the Orchid target almost every time for Queen of Pain.
Yeah. Do that, just push him back out. Doesn't matter if they even purge him at that point.
Yeah, there's 1 force staff for Clockwork Hookshot and 1 force staff for the Orchid target, most likely Ember Spirit. So these supports have had like phenomenal positioning in the fights. Like only 5 deaths combined from King J and Chuan. I mean, they do have like these huge beefy strength heroes though. So
I don't think he's going to be that worried about hookshot anymore. As you do have the Mana Style now up for the Ember Spirit. So with that, if you hookshot in, Ferrari could even just Mana Style himself out of the cogs.
Oh yeah, I thought that'd be a little bit later considering how many times they've killed him. But
yeah, that's actually quite good on timing. Vega, they're really trying to go for something now, like a 5-man smoke move into the Radiant jungle. They
know something is weird though.
If they loop to the left, they could come up behind IG. So if IG feel like maybe there's a trap inside the lane and not behind, actually look at King J's positioning. Rabbit can give the perfect vision down this direction. You just had King J in the tree line, which would break the smoke, but they've decided to walk even further back into the lane, waste more time now with Vega.
And notice how their positioning is. They have the big strength heroes out in front, so that if they approach from the top,
look at Luo, he just walks in, he's going to reveal everything, gets the BKB off with a Sleight of Fist as well. The initial damage into Cop is so big, and with the Laguna Blade, it doesn't even do any kind of real damage. They lose their Queen of Pain, Parsh's BKB is about to wear off in a moment, and Luo just keeps charging down there. Man gets isolated, it's Ferrari who's getting just beaten down by Steam with a Sleight of Fist with the TD. Does all the work they want to. This is a complete wipe right now in favor of IG. Ferrari's the last man battling up against Seema. The Sleight of Fist and just slices him in 2. Vega lose everything and take nothing from IG.
And we talked a lot about how Doom was a pretty good pick and probably underpicked, and I think this game really exemplifies the utility of the hero. He's like such a big meat shield in the front. He has 9 deaths, but he can just completely take out the co-op. She built BKB first, she built survivability, and she can't do anything in these fights.
It's not that Lewis got huge items either, like he got mech and BKB, and that's all 30 minutes in, yet you're still tanking up so much.
Yeah, he has Aquila aura, he has mech aura, and he has the level death, or sorry, the pack leader's aura, so he's actually providing a lot from his team from just standing there.
Yep. It's crazy to see that this Doombringer can be so big after you look at him being paper, like the hero that starts with no armor at the start of a game.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good idea though. They have like a very high HP hero with the armor from the Sven, and he had a 0-3-0 start, I believe, with his tower being taken down and no stacks for him.
Yep.
Because Sven took him out.
And now this Doombringer sitting in the 3rd highest net worth. Only 1,000 behind that of the Sven, who does complete up his full Daedalus as well. The Courier's flying out at the moment with that Daedalus rest to be on it to pick up the Demon Edge. So then Rabbit's damage is going to be even more amplified during the fights. I still want to say too, like this Laguna Blade from Seema, it doesn't really feel like it's done anything at all in the last 3 engagements.
I mean, they're all like really high HP heroes, 2,000 HP Mark IV, a couple of these, as well as the null field, which is, you know, kind of hard to visualize how useful it is, but it's definitely adding up.
Yeah, and then you also have Ferrari, who can Sleight of Fist dodge the Laguna, so you don't find that earlier damage, which you really want to have. So then the Queen of Pain can come in and finish the job. It just doesn't exist.
Yeah, they actually have like so many defensive tools that's it's ridiculous. It's just mitigation everywhere. Flame Guard and Doom with his Trank Armor and Scorched Earth and Null Field and Warcry. Like all these things just makes it seem like Vega do no damage in fights from heroes that you traditionally just see people blow up in half a second.
Well, Vega are going to try it again. Mag, Doesn't find the line for the hook shot. Rabbit and Schwan are still here, so he's going to rock to get the vision, and then he'll realize that Luo's, look at that armor. You've actually got plus 29 over on that Doombringer, who runs forward. Doom's over on Pasha. Mag trying to force up himself down to the pit, and Rabbit took the bait. He blinked down into the pit, but then Maggie walks towards Rabbit. The cogs will come up, but he'll die to King J. The Skywrath Mage coming in a little bit later.
Chuan, he lifted the clockwork as he was hookshotting, and it wasted his cooldown. It didn't even stun anyone. He lifted him mid hookshot.
And then steals hookshot as well. Like,
he's just making clockwork look silly.
He is an amazing Ruby player. It's great to see Chuan as well back up in the list where we can start saying great plays coming out from Chuan.
Dire's bottom.
Yeah, he really. I mean, that is his signature hero, but we haven't seen too much of Chuan lately.
Yep. Like he had a decent run at TI, but it's not gonna be like one that like he was playing up against people like FY, who everyone's like, okay, well done, boys. Like game is good. This guy is the greatest.
Of invisibility.
Yeah, he's been playing like a beast. Been holding the gem for quite some time and still sitting at that 3 death mark. I think he's been at that for 20 minutes.
Ferrari's looking for an easy pick.
They need Doom probably to kill him, or a Rabbit stun into a lift.
May not just be a back killing. Like harass him down, and then, well, hello Chuan. Hook shots into Solo, pick him up. Ferrari's already used his searing chains, but Solo can't escape from that. A very nice pickup, set up again by Chuan, that Rubik.
Dire's bottom.
Yeah, their farm is just severely lacking at this point.
Radiant's top tower.
And Doom's gonna have a Shiva, so he can just kind of run in and Shivas and just run around with Scorcher.
Look at the jump again. Ferrari actually blink daggering himself forward, trying to just catch out one of the Vega heroes out of position. Now he soaks up that early Orchid of no one, takes no extra damage, and Rabbit gets the BKB out from Partial. Get the Yule Scepter over on the Ember Spirit, but then Ferrari, the Sleight of Fist dodge, the Cogs pushback is nice, but then you just have so much damage, so much tankability, so much survivability in IG that all of Vega's damage does nothing. Luo chases in so deep, he leveled Death down the Gyrocopter, and GG. It has been an absolute bloodbath. 54 kills in 38 minutes, but Invictus Gaming, it's felt like the last 20 minutes really belonged to them.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it seemed like an outdraft to me, just because I don't even think that Luo played particularly well, and Rabbit's early game was not as good as it could have been, and still they just kind of trounced over them in the last 15 minutes of the game. Fantastic play by Chuan, though, and Ferrari in particular.
Yeah, that's really a big talking point as well. You might see 4-3-18, only 9.1 fantasy points, but really, Chuan, as well as I almost give good props to King J as well, like the man who has had to come in and stand in for Invictus Gaming as their coach, replacing Mini Super. Just terrific play by all of them. I hope they've had a great time, because Invictus Gaming, they're one game up here against Vega, but it's time for us to actually not say any more, because we want to find out what the experts think, or at least as close as we can get to it, the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Toby. Wow, an explosive game one between IG and Vega. It was IG that were the aggressors in that game. They set the tempo and they brought the fight to Vega. Blitz, what was your thought looking at that game?
Honestly, I knew from the draft that it was going to be hard for them to lock down the Ember Spirit, and Ferrari had a pretty stellar game, and at the same time, Chuan playing that Rubik. That's like the second star performance that I've seen off of his Rubik already in this tournament. Like when he stole the hook at the end to hook into the Shadow Demon, like the Shadow Demon actually played pretty well, but it was an onslaught from like minute one. Luo, like Ben mentioned, didn't have the best laning phase, but it just felt like IG, when they get to that 20 minute window and they just hit you hard, and Vega just couldn't stand up.
Yeah, I feel like you knew it was kind of over by like the 20-minute marker once IG started being like forcing fights given their lineup and winning those fights pretty handedly. You were just like, okay, it's only getting worse from here.
Yeah, and we saw the strength of the Doombringer in these fights as well. I think that middle fight really cemented how far ahead they were, because this Doombringer just ran in, he held on to Doom for like 30 seconds throughout the fight, and then finally, when no one came in, he was like, there you are.
Yeah.
Hello, friend.
Yeah. And we've got some highlights here as well. These are two of the bigger fights where IG just really get out of control. And Rabbit is the player that I kept my eye on throughout these engagements, where he just goes in, no holds barred. He just mans up against the Gyrocopter. Gyro, one of those heroes that can do a lot of spread damage, but when he has a BKB Sven up in his face with the great strength on, cleaving away with that sword, he just can't handle it. And as you can see, IG just run them down. Sure, they lose the Doombringer, but they clean up all of Vega.
I mean, it's pretty unbelievable to me that the Sven was in the middle of all of that. He got hit by like a sonic wave, 8 or 9 right clicks by everybody, just doesn't really care throughout the entirety of the fight.
Yep, and here's a few minutes after, again, IG are the initiators here as they bump into Vega. Luo pops that BKB straight away and drops the Doom onto no one. He can't do anything. We've seen no one be the key player for so much of the success of Vega in the earlier stages of this tournament. And here, they found ways to just completely shut him down. As Belk mentioned in that draft, Doom, one of the better heroes to lock down a Queen of Pain.
Yeah, I feel like Vega Squadron really just didn't put enough effort into, actually being the aggressors and shutting down IG early on. I mean, these two team fights, you look at, like, no matter what the positioning was, IG still had too big of an advantage at the time. I mean, Jacob, you were watching a lot of that early game. What did you feel that Vega did wrong that allowed IG to get so far ahead given their kind of lineup that was a bit greedier than Vega's?
I didn't actually watch that much of the early game. I was busy eating Williams chicken, but...
Analyst.
Well done.
As close as we can get to it.
Yeah. No, but I can say something else instead, though. The same way we saw yesterday with the Rubik, you were mentioning how there was a star performance coming out of Chuan. We saw yesterday Q on the Rubik as well, playing a better Earthshaker than Fluff did. I think Chuan played a better Clockwork than Mag did.
I mean, it just wasn't the hero for the game. I just felt like it does give you the initiation, but at the same time, like, you're just immediately going to get lifted up. The Ember Spirit can always remnant away, and at the same time, we saw the Lina pick up as the first support from Vega, but I really felt like they needed some sort of support that could go through the BKBs, because once we saw both Rabbit and Luo pick up BKBs, what do you actually do with that? You saw the fight in the jungle. That should have been a decent initiation. For example, if you had the Bane's Fiend, the Fiend's Grip, then maybe you can lock him down, burst him, or at least control him for a little bit, or you can just like sleep him and move on. But he just walks in the middle of the fight, him and the Sven, they don't really care at that point.
Yeah, one of the last things I wanted to bring up here is the Ember Spirit build. We talked about how the Boots of Travel is the new build for Ember Spirit. Lo and behold, we saw 430 do something different. He stuck to his guns and he went for a Power Tread, Aquila, right into Battle Fury.
As you were saying, sticking to his guns, he was probably one of the first players to actually play the Ember Spirit competitively, and he went Power Treads back then. He keeps on doing that. He doesn't like that whole, we don't need to do the whole Boots of Travel trend. I don't think he really played the Drum of Endurance trend much either.
I think it also goes a little bit, it fits IG's playstyle a little bit better as well, because you're going a little bit more all in, investing into that 15-minute team fight in order to make sure that you do win it with the extra stats that you have, rather than splitting it and saying, oh, okay, we can both win this and I can go back to my lane and farm via Boots of Travels or something like that. That's a little bit too greedy. I feel like IG definitely made the right choice.
All right, well, game number 1 going the way of Invictus Gaming. We're going to take a short break, then coming back, we'll have game 2 of our last semifinal. We'll see if Vega can tie it up and take us to an ace match, or if they go home early. Stick around to find out.